All right, guys. You guys want to blow up your back? Saw I blow my back up. You want a mass building back workout? Try this. You want bulging lats? You want Tyrannosaurus traps? You guys want lats like Dorian Yates with half the work and half fucking genetics? You want to figure out how to not work hard, get big? You want, this is the shortcut channel. That was so impressively bad what I just witnessed. That might be the fucking single dumbest thing I've ever seen in the gym. We'll load it and blur out the face. I trained a couple guys this morning. They have a hard time retracting shoulder. So getting into this position, like having your scapula retracted and having your shoulders, like scapula pinched, shoulders back, chest up, chin down, head back. Not this or this. Just like level, chest up to chin, flat up the back of your head. So that's our goal, is to get people into that position a lot of the time when we're doing movement. But through my rehab with my shoulder and stuff, I've been doing stuff I have to work on those muscles again, because those muscles we don't want to take a chance of them not activating and having the shoulder won't heal properly if you don't activate those areas, because you'll kind of develop like a slouch or like a rolled forward posture, especially if those muscles remain inactive when you're trying to recover from something like that. So I've been doing these rope pulls, not supposed to be doing them, but I've been doing them. So it's just, I noticed, like, because the whole goal is obviously to end up in this position, like always have like a forward lean and end up in this position, retracted and squeezed into back, right? This is where you want to end up. For a lot of guys who have trouble pulling, like we said in girls, they've never felt that position, so they don't know how to get into it. And once they get into it, they have no idea how to get back into it, because they just understand like maybe holding that, but what was the progression that got you there, and how can I control from my back that's squeezed, pinched like this? How do I control letting that out and then letting that back in again with my hands, and not thinking to myself, it's just I pull this and that squeeze happens, because it doesn't happen. If I just pull this, it doesn't happen. There's no lift and squeeze and roll up of rib cage. I'm just rocking here and pulling this thing, or I'm pulling it, or I'm getting very tight and I'm pulling it here, and I think that that's it. But if you go behind me, there's no pinch in my back. These people will pull their arms and they're here, as opposed to here, right? So in an effort to like fix that, people that are having issues with their back, or this can be a warm up for anybody, even if they have a great back. It's just gonna help activate things that need to activate and reinforce patterns that need to be reinforced, right? So as you can see, when the rope's on the stack, there's no tension, but I can still get up in this tension without moving the stack. Like I haven't moved it, but I've gotten to the position I want to get to. So now once I have that position, all I have to do is walk back with it. So I'm as deep as I can be and as retracted as I can be, and starting in the position I want to start in. So then I understand it's not me letting my back out, letting my arms out and hunching over. It's staying in this position and letting my hands pull my back open and my shoulders forward, and then I'm rocking back to this position again. So it's not like you'll see people go and they'll rock. It's like, no, I want to stay down into this position, almost take this handle. It's like almost like we're doing it with a D handle or like a regular handle, but I'm on a rope so I can spread. So I'm going to push forward and let the arm go to where it goes, and I'm going to rock. But for a lot of you guys, if you don't have that, if you feel yourself doing this right away, then start to understand maybe your let out's only to here and then back to where you were. Understand like holding and pausing and engaging in that area that's super locked down and chin back. And then as you get more comfortable, you'll be able to let out, feel the back close and feel the hands slide in. So play with that. Like I said, guys and girls that have a problem with rounding, the guys I trained this morning, one of them had this problem with, like a lot of people think that this is letting their arm out. So all that happened was your back rounded and your arm reached forward. But I didn't let my arm out. This is letting my arm out. This is letting my back out. And then I get up through that pull and pull. It's not, because all that is upper back trap, fucking Terry's, whatever the fuck. It's just upper back. Like, we don't have to call all these fancy fucking things. It's your upper back. It's not your lower. It's not your mid back. There's portions of your back that are real things. use to describe stuff. You don't need to like be so specific. But yeah, it's a good tool to teach people how to really engage that mid back and that lower trap and like mid lat. Get to understand that that's where the back is opening from, because that on a lot of movements, not just back movements, like we talked about before, and even if you're doing bicep curls, I have to understand how to like retract this shoulder a bit, or at least enough to lock into my lat and then move through my lat and my shoulder to keep the plane that I'm working on still, so that I can isolate on the hand and rock up through. It's the same shit. And it's the same shit if we understand how to do this pull here and we're rocking into here. This is the same as a bench press position. This is a bench press position. My hands aren't here, now they're here. It's the same shit. So if I can understand how to manipulate that mid back, pull that scapula in and like set that trap down and set shoulders down and chin back, I'm almost golden on everything I do. Because some variation of that will be needed on almost every movement you do in the gym. Even if I do a single arm pull, so if you notice that you have like a hard time, you can transition from doing the 2 arm to the 1 arm. So if I do the same thing here, I understand, you can even start here again. I'm locked on lat now, shoulders retracted. I'm obviously on one side, so I have to loosen this side. I either have to rotate here to hold in if I'm doing what I'm doing, or I need to rotate out, which is more likely the case. I'm gonna let this rock up and I'm gonna drive back to where I was. So I can hold this position because my shoulder retraction and my chest lift holds the position. I'm not going, I'm elevating, squeezing, retracting, setting down into lat. So I can stand here and I can walk it back to the stack if I wanted. Or I can walk out from the stack if I wanted, because I'm locked on my lat. I choose to let my arm out. I choose to retract my arm, right? So it's like, it's the same as if when we do fucking tricep press down. If I'm doing 1 arm tricep press down, 2 even, doesn't matter. But if I want to lock into here, I'm gonna have to lock into that mid back and like that low lat, shoulder down, shoulder retracted, and then I have to push my hand through and rock. Sure, there's instances where I can go here, but even then I'm still locked on that lat and that mid back, rocking down here. I'm not here. It's never over the top. It's always from midline of body, right? And once you guys start to realize that on every lift, it's like, well, this doesn't fucking feel good to me. I never feel 1 arm shit, or I never feel this or that. It's like, try and set yourself into this position that I am here. Now that it's one hand, I tip towards it to lock it down more. So it's like I did a pull in, I tipped, and now I'm rocking in. The same thing. If I have a bar, the same thing, I pull into there, I tip. Like we talked about, I rock off mid back. I'm never pushing down on stuff. That's how you develop fucking weird ass physiques, and you trick yourself into thinking that you're stronger than you are, because you're manipulating the bar with leverage, putting weight down through it, and you're like, oh, I'm so fucking strong. But then as soon as you do it right and lock down, this will also help your back development like 100%, not just on days you do back. So if I know how to lock down into lat and I know how to engage my back on every lift I do, guess what? It's working. It's like getting fucking activated every time I'm in the fucking gym. And you'll be like, holy shit, ever since I've been lifting properly or doing stuff well, my back has gotten better, and I'm only doing 1 back day a week. But I'm getting back work on everything I do, whether it's legs, chest, arms, fucking shoulders, anything you want. We even show you on shoulders how it works. So the same idea here of locking into back. We wanted to get into this position again. I want to be engaged in back. It's the same thing. So if I'm in a dumbbell, I'm hanging over now, obviously, the way I teach, with arms dangling. So all I'm going to do from here with arms dangling, because everything's out of posture and not locked down, is I elevate my chest and I roll my shoulders back enough to grab my scaps. So all I did instead of going and throwing out here, I rolled back enough to get my back to grab, and then I started moving out on hands. So my throw from my shoulders really comes from my lockdown in my mid back, because I'm pushing out through here, sweeping. Yeah, it looks like my arm is just flinging up and down, but when I pull in, if I'm here, I'm gonna lift chest, so that engages me, then I'm gonna roll a bit. Not here, but I'm just gonna start pushing out off that mid back. So it's not this thing where you guys see you're throwing, you're hanging off your shoulders and doing this snap up. If you're doing it right and you're throwing from where your mid back is, when I'm training Ian, you can see me cue his mid back, lock into here, you can't possibly get that flip up feeling because you're just pushing away from tension in your back. I'm just launching out forward. So there's no point where I need to go, because then I lose my back contraction. I lose engagement in my back, which then compromises the whole fucking lift. Then the head drops, all this stuff drops. So as soon as I pull into my back and I sit here, I lock down, this is stiff now. So if this is stiff and this is pushed back, or this is out and pushed back, I'm able to move anytime I want. My arms are now just flimsy things that fly off of me because they're controlled by the movement of my body, which is how you isolate. You isolate by locking down other things and letting other things be free. That's how we truly isolate. It's not the more you think about it, or the harder you squeeze it, or like the more fucking intense your face is, or how much you don't breathe. Like, you'd be surprised, like, people think their intensity is dictated by the fact that they don't breathe. Because as soon as you tell them to breathe, even the stuff they're doing is so easy for them. Like, take a breath, man. Oh wow, I got a little bit lighter there. It's like, yeah, well, you're holding your breath for 35 seconds. Like, no wonder it got heavy quickly, right? So, just these little tips and these little tiny cues can make a huge difference in understanding how to move better and how to feel things better, and to also just help yourself stop from getting injured so fucking often. Like, you'd be surprised, like, if you just understand where to lock down. It's the same thing with posing, guys on stage doing shots, girls holding mandatory poses. If you just understand where to hold the muscle, the pose becomes very easy. So all these guys who are pros, from pros to amateurs, they get on stage and they just disappear after a while because they can't pose. And then they're like, oh, so-and-so looks so effortless when he poses. Yeah, because he's not a fucking moron, and he's not thinking that the harder that he squeezes his shot, like, he can't breathe, or he hits like an ab thigh and he like turns it down and squeezes, do you know what I mean? Or he hits a rear front last and he's like, and he's like squeezing as hard as he can. It's like, just find where it sets and hold it. Like, literally, a front last bit is literally just fill up and then hold right there. As soon as you feel chest contract, arm roll forward and hand dig in, chest stays up, and I'm sitting in my legs, obviously, I'm locked in my mid back. This is all the poses. I can stand here for an hour, and then I come out of it and I go to another pose. But you guys have all determined that, like, how hard you're working is fucking dictating how well you're gonna do. It's like, work smarter, not harder. Understand where to lock down, understand where to hold muscle, and everything becomes so much easier. The gym doesn't have to be this like insane torture session. Every time I go there, I can't walk after my shoulders hurt for 5 days after I do chest. It's like, that's not supposed to happen. It's like these fucking brands that are out nowadays, Alpha Elite and fucking Gym Dork, Gymshark, Dork Sport, all these fucking guys. You guys you'll literally sponsor anyone. You sponsor like a dead skunk on the fucking side of the road. If it had like you just put an Alpha Elite t-shirt on it. You're like, you have no standards as to what it is that it means to like be a fucking physique athlete. You're just some dipshit who fucking like lifts weights every once in a while, plays with his hair in the mirror, or like a girl who thinks she's in shape because she's skinny. And like, oh yeah, since I'm skinny and I go to the gym, it means I know something about being in shape. No, it doesn't. I was skinny once too. Did I go there and tell everyone I'm ripped? Like, you have no basis of experience. You have no basis of like of coming from any type of like background that's worthy of you even discussing fitness. It's like, honest to God, I wouldn't be surprised like if they just started handing out Alpha Elite shirts to homeless people just to get more eyes on their brand. Like, just hand it out at shelters, guys, because like, you literally do not have any integrity to your brand whatsoever. Near to the end of your guys. Do a collab with this fucking brand, do a collab with this brand, just to get our fucking name out there so we saturate the market. So you're just a bunch of clowns. Like, just, if your goal is to get your shit in Walmart and have just everyone wear your shit, then you've accomplished your goal, good for you. But if you're like actually want to be reputable in this industry and have people that really know how to train and like bodybuilders that are for real and competitors that are for real, none of them give a shit about you unless you're paying them money to wear your shit. They're never going to willingly buy your stuff. Like, and even the fucking athletes that are with you, they're jokes, half of them, and the ones that aren't are just like taking a check every week and every month. They're like, thanks, man, I'll wear your stupid clothes. Like, saves me buying clothes, right? But there's no genuine like like, oh man, even if they didn't sponsor me, I'd buy their stuff all the time. I love them. It's like
No.
the messaging is fucking gone. The messaging is for fucking dorks who've never competed, run around the gym like they're on some mission from God, but like they're never gonna compete. They're never gonna do anything. They won't. In flash forward 5 years from now, they don't even train anymore. They're fucking fat, out of shape, living in a trailer, fucking not giving a shit about life. You know what I mean? It's like, I gave it a try once. I was really good. I could have been pro.